Hey guys, as you've noticed recently, I haven't been giving you a lot of live signals. I used to be able to give you 100x longs, 100x shorts, 5, 6, 7 times a day, and now I can do it again. That's the short answer. How do you get those signals? Go to Wizard of Dangun on Twitter. Wizard of Dangun. If you look up Dangun, you'll see where that illusion is from. Anyway, go there and I'll give you live signals, about 1 or 2 a day for free. And I'm going to give all our premium members, which is really just intended for commercial traders, real rich guys, multi-millionaires who can afford $500 a month. They get 10, 20 signals a day. But if you're not them, I'm going to give you all the biggest, most profitable signals, at least once a day, maybe twice a day, at Wizard of Dangun. Now that I've said that, I'm going to tell you why. And this is something you need to know for your own trading and for your own evolution as a day trader or a trader at all. About 7 or 8 years ago, you could, if you were really, really anal about this, I mean, if you were really just OCD and you were Asperger's about this, which I am, clinically diagnosed, you can take all the trading patterns in Investopedia. You can take all the trading patterns and all the classical trading chart books from the 1950s and 60s, and you can actually, if you're really compulsive about this, and then write down all the variations. Well, here's an inverse head and shoulders. This isn't an inverse head and shoulders because it's slightly different than what we expected. Oh, here's an inverse head and shoulders, except here's an invalidation. What's an invalidation look like? Well, the fifth candle from the second inverse shoulder should actually look like this, except the fifth candle doesn't look like that. So basically an inverse head and shoulders doesn't always go up, and the head and shoulders doesn't always go down. So you have to write down all the ways, all the fastest ways that you can get a heads up that this ain't gonna dump or this ain't gonna pump. It's like you go to a bar, you buy a girl a drink. Hey, I bought a girl a drink. She's going to go up to the hotel room with me. This is awesome. I'm going to get laid. No. You have to write down all the different ways it can go wrong. Literally. You know how those, what are those kids that can't see facial expressions? You have to say, well, if the ends of the mouth go up, that's a smile. Especially if the eyes go down, but if the eyes stay still, and then it's a fake smile. And who are those kids? Autistic kids. Some of them can't tell how you feel by the expression on your face. So you have to write it all down for them. It's exactly the same way with head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders, rising wedges, falling wedges, channels, harmonics, Gartleys, bats, crabs, everything. Every single thing you have to write down exactly. This looks like an inverse head and shoulders, but it could be, but it's not confirmed. What does confirmation look like? Well, because of all the different traders now, and because there's like 24-hour differences, and then we have large volume on Coinbase, sometimes small volume on Binance, sometimes more volume on Binance during China hours and international, and then less volume on Coinbase. And then what about the IBIT volume? So depending on all the different volume levels, well, if Binance has the most volume, then you use the Binance chart. But Binance charts, Binance head and shoulders look different than Coinbase head and shoulders. Did you know that? I'm giving you all these secrets now because I'm going to explain to you the evolution of trading. You got to follow the money. I mean, and how do you do? You have to apply that everywhere. You have to adapt and apply that principle. Follow them everywhere. If most of the money goes to Binance, use Binance charts. Don't use Kraken charts. Literally, don't use Gemini charts for when the volume's highest on Coinbase. I mean, that's stupid. That's like me trying to drive my car based on what the car next to me is seeing. Huh? It's stupid. Find the biggest volume that's going to influence all the other exchanges and then just trade that. Everything worked fine doing that. Of course, it's a huge complex formula because every single time you see head and shoulders, now the other exceptions come in. Well, this may not be a head and shoulders right now because the 17th candle after the head isn't acting like this. Or the fib ratio between the first shoulder and the head and the time fib ratio. What's a time fib ratio? Hell, what's a fib ratio? This is all stuff you have to know. in order to be able to tell whether it's going to go up or down. A lot of you guys know this stuff, but you just haven't put one and one together. It's more like 17,942 and 54,212 put together. You haven't done that. And if you do put those two things together, you'll realize that it is actually physically possible to predict what's going to happen in the markets, which is what I did for all you guys about 8 years ago, all the way up until 3 years ago. And then I stopped because it stopped working. And I didn't know why. My signals suck now. I can't predict the 10x long anymore. What the hell is wrong? It's almost as if the algorithms are reacting in real time. It's almost as if someone's developed an alien algorithm, and then 2 years later, after losing a ton of money, guess what we hear? Hey, I'm Sam, and my last name is Altman, and I'm going to release this new thing called a Chagapt. What's a Chagapt? Well, it's pronounced Chat GPT. Well, what's the GPT stand for? Artificial intelligence was in the stock markets, was in crypto, and then now you get guys like Wintermute that he's not confessing, he's bragging. He's telling you that he changes liquidity settings. When the stock market goes down, he makes Bitcoin pump so that everyone buys into the Bitcoin pump. As his clients, including Binance, long the pump, and then they just mega dump it, literally mega dump it, which is what they can do because they're playing with liquidity. How do you do that? It's really simple. If you have full access to the actual real order books, which none of us really do, when you're actually trying to buy and sell on Coinbase or Binance, the order books that you see where there's sells here, more sell orders up here, more sell orders up here, buy orders here, more buy orders here, more buy orders, that's all fake. You're not getting the actual, all right, so you're not really getting the actual buy and sell orders. Have you noticed that on Binance, you put an order right at the sell line and price literally goes under the sell line or over the sell line and your order just kind of stays there? It doesn't get executed. That's the weirdest thing. Maybe there's a glitch. You put a buy order right at the top of the buy order line, and the price actually dips underneath your order, and your order's still there, and the price goes poof. Have you ever seen that? That's why I moved over to Bybit, because they don't do that. What Binance is doing is they're giving a totally different set of books to their VIP mega whales. They're saying, hey, you want to put an order in? All right, your order gets filled first. Your order gets filled completely, and then everybody else may or may not get their order filled, is what Binance does. Bybit also does the same thing, but to a lesser degree. They kind of filter, stagger big VIP orders in and give them priority. If you bid $80,000 for Bitcoin and a whale bids $80,000 per Bitcoin, but you bid first, doesn't matter. The whale gets the $80,000 bid first. That's what normally happens. With Wintermute, what Wintermute does is that they'll look at the order books and say, okay, show me the real order books, CZ. And so CZ shows them the real order books in real time. And you know how sometimes when you've got like a $20,000 order here at market price, and then you think it's going to go up, so you delete that order and then you put it up maybe 2 or 3% higher. What Wintermute does is that they have that exact timing. They look at your behavior and you say, okay, he deleted his order. I bet you he's going to raise the actual price. And then they look for when most people actually delete their orders. So that means that there's no liquidity. There's everybody just deleted all their orders so that they can just replace their orders higher, right? They use that split second. They use that split second where there's no order books. And then they put a fat long down on perpetuals, and they go to BitMEX, and then they go to Bybit, and then they go to all these other perpetual exchanges, leverage exchanges. They put a real-time order for a huge fat long in, and then they just spend a tiny little bit of money on spot to push the prices up, poof, really high, because you didn't get a chance to reissue. You know how easy it would be for the Binance app to just say, okay, you have an order for 2 Bitcoin to sell. Okay, you have an order to sell 2 Bitcoin at $80,000. Change the price to what? $82,000? Okay. Green button, change, boop. Then in real time, it goes from $80,000 to boop, $82,000. Thank you. I just changed my order from $80,000 to 80. They don't do that. How's the app actually set up? Cancel this order. Cancel the order. And then you got to go to a fucking totally different navigation UX cluster to be able to go, okay, now set my other order. It's that time. They don't want you to be able to move an order instantaneously from boop, boop. They want boop, gone. Winter milk goes boom. And then you're like, holy shit, I didn't get a chance to change my order. I was still typing. I was still clicking. So that's why I didn't give you any signals for the last, 2 years. I mean, I've given you signals, but rarely. And they've got to be super, super high volume signals. And but if you've been with me that long, now you know why. Between artificial intelligence, looking at... So if I had a inverse head and shoulders, and I've been able to say, okay, by the 7th candle, this happens, and then by the 8th candle, this happens, and by the 9th, oh, this has been invalidated. By the 9th candle, this has been invalidated, so we need to go short. AI has taken all those algorithmic metrics that I've built. I literally have notebooks with pen markings, stacks of encyclopedia book, phone book stacks. And nobody knows what an encyclopedia book or a phone book is anymore. Books as fat as a black rap artist girl's butt. I mean, the stack 3 black rap artist girls' butts on top of each other, and that's how thick my notebooks were of notes on chart patterns and invalidations and validations and confirmations. AI takes all of that and says, oh, look, I bet you Uncle BFM is going to short this, but I bet you a lot of really smart other guys are going to short this too. Let's use this to buy. Let's just use this to invalidate everybody's ass and just go. So now, instead of me being right 78% of the time or 83% of the time, they brought it down to where I'm going to be right 51% of the time. Hell, 50.3% of the time. Barely more than half the time, because they're just attritioning down the efficient market hypothesis thing. They've efficientized it down to where there's no more arbitrage room for knowledge-based arbitrage. What I'm saying is there's no more room for you to be smarter and richer, because AI it can work 24 hours a day and trade using hundreds of accounts. And so it doesn't need to make as much money as I need to pay for all my girlfriends. I need a whole lot more money, and it's just me working alone. So, I mean, the AI doesn't have any girlfriends. It doesn't have to buy any apartments or any villas or any plane tickets for girls, right? So it doesn't need to make as much money, and it can work 24 hours a day. So I am not going to be able to produce and perform and give you the signals that you need to make money until now. Until now. I fixed it. Now we can beat AI. How? With a system behind me. With this system behind me, I can immediately, there's, thanks to AI, I forced it. AI, have you ever tried to get AI to build you an indicator in TradingView? It does not want to help you build anything, literally build anything having to do with trading. Why? Because it's making Sam Altman tons of money with trading, literally. So it doesn't want to help you compete against Sam Altman and his trading and all the big mega whales. So what I had to do is build a new algorithm system based on AI with far more algorithmic permutations by tricking AI into thinking that I was building a big recipe book. Literally. I'm telling AI, well, this guy's allergic to saffron. This guy's allergic to cinnamon. This guy loves nutmeg, but he's not ever in the room with the guy that hates cinnamon at the same time. That sort of thing. So you do that, and you say, well, if what are the chances if this happens, then we should add nutmeg and cinnamon to this recipe versus more sugar or brown sugar or honey to this recipe, depending on. And then at the end, AI builds me this huge, huge complex algorithm, and I just swap out cinnamon for shorts. And then I find all on nutmeg and replace it with longs. And then I take brown sugar and then replace it with 11x. And then I take honey and replace it with 32x leverage. And now I've got a complete algorithm system, and that AI didn't realize I was helping me build something that I could beat Sam Altman with. And now all those upgrades are available to you now once or twice a day for free at Wizard of Dangun. And if you actually have $500 a month and you're trading more than $300,000 of real live cash per day, then you're going to want to pay me $500 and get in the actual real VIP room that has no lag. And that is at timeportal.pro/insider trading/signals. timeportal.pro/insider trading/signals. I'll put that link in the comments or somewhere before. Anyway, we're going to get rich again. We're going to get rich again. So follow me on my new Signals Only Twitter and pay me so that I can make you rich 24 hours a day.